Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our preview series, a show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal game with the help of some of our members from the Discord server. And to do so today, I'm joined by Ojo. How you doing, mate? Are you well? Are you good?
Yes, Tom, I'm doing well, especially since the slapping from last week.
I was waiting. I was wondering. I was like, I don't think. Did you come on at all during our unbeaten run? I'm trying to think.
No. I wanted to come in on a good time. Maybe I should have just postponed my visit for next week.
Yes,
Hopefully, when things are better.
Good to have you in here, mate. Good to have you in here. Vinny, how you doing, mate? Back again. I mean, might as well. I'm going to have to start paying you, to be honest, for being on these shows.
Yeah, becoming a regular now on every week. But glad to be on with Ojo. It's been a long time. Well, first time with the main man.
Lovely stuff. Yes, you say that. You just wait till he starts speaking and getting some of those opinions out there.
No, you remind me of the Liverpool game. No, you're an assault on my eyes, man. How are you?
Jeez.
How are you?
Oh, he's already started. He's already started. This is the crucial savageness, is what it is. We're also making up the numbers. No, wait, that sounds really bad. Making up the numbers. Chris, how you doing, mate? Are you well?
I'm well. I just come back to apologise for last week, really.
No worries, fella. No worries. We did a lot of you. I'm sure people will be familiar with the old game show, The Crystal Maze, but they now do like one in London where you can do it. And our team name was called Making Up the Numbers. So if anything, that tells you what that saying might mean. But no, it's been. Go on. Who's going to jump in there?
I was going to say I could be the host as well. I got a haircut for it.
True, very true. Yes, you don't really look like Richard Aduadi, though. I mean, I have to say that there is a fair few differences between you. Let's crack on though with looking ahead to the game. Ojo, tell me in your infinite positivity how you're feeling about the match this weekend.
Actually, Tom, as I said, I think the last time we came in, we were in a very bad position. Somehow, as luck would have it, I've come back after we've been put back in our place. But my
fifth?
policy
Is that what you mean?
no, that's not what I mean. I mean, my policy for this season is take each game as an exhibition game anyway. So I feel that the team is performing very well. I think some of us are playing beyond our levels. None of us expected for us to be where we are. So I'm actually very happy. It actually, I'm looking forward to Arsenal games this week, this time, and there's a smile on my face. I'm not grumpy around the house. The family thinks I'm cheerful. So Arsenal is actually doing me good these weeks.
Good stuff, man. It's good to hear. Vinny, Newcastle, bottom of the table, still scored more goals than us this season, which is quite an incredible statistic when you consider where they are. Do you think that kind of highlights the main concern that we've got right now?
Yeah, well, definitely our biggest problem at the moment is feeding over, as you sort of said in some of your videos recently. We're just not linking up the midfield to attack enough and giving our striker chances to put chances away. And I think that's the balance that we need to address. Defensively, we look really good. Obviously, against Liverpool was a bit of a slip up, but against Liverpool are one of the best teams in the world. And for years, even when we were on top of our game, we would get battered by teams like Barcelona and Munich. And them sort of games happen. But defensively, we look really good. But yeah, we need to sort our midfield out and start connecting up top and finding that balance to create chances.
Yeah, it's just going to be about finding that balance, isn't it, Chris? Because there's so many players that I look at who are performing well consistently, but as a team, they're not creating those clear-cut opportunities enough at the moment.
No, but I think, as I said last week, they're trying, right? And things just aren't coming off. I think for me, I mean, I'm really excited about tomorrow, right? Saturday, right? Because it's like, we're back at the Emirates, we're back at home. This is our chance to, we had our free hit last week. This is back into the real thing. But we've got this real opportunity, I think, to say we benchmarked ourselves against the best. Now we have to learn and get better. And it is going to take time. And I know it's horrible and Arteta-ish, and apologies for that, but it's a process. And everyone...
always use the words. The words been used.
but the kids are gonna, the kids, and it's like it's gonna take us time. So I think it's really good. I think we've got such skill and talent. If we can free them up, which you get a lot more at the Emirates than you do when you're away, against a team like Newcastle that are very good at coming forward but leaving massive holes behind them. I think this is a fabulous opportunity for us to go and fill our boots.
Yeah, I mean, Ojo, what's kind of the minimum you're expecting on Saturday? Because Newcastle are a side that concedes. Yes, they can still score goals, and they've got some decent players in Sam Maximan and Callum Wilson and our very own Joe Willock, of course. But the emphasis and the pressure is going to be very much on us to play a very dominant and high-scoring performance.
I think, Tom, it's not just for the Newcastle game, but even going forward. Arteta has set the defense and it is solid. And it is actually, as a fan, I'm confident looking at the defense that I know that we are not going to be leaking goals until we came up to last week. But that is a different situation. But I feel that Arteta has to figure out the attack before the league figures out our defense. If you can understand what I'm trying to say, because if the longer we go as a team that is only good defensively, but we are struggling to create, if we are fifth, but if we have less goals than Newcastle, then there is something that is not clicking somewhere, and it is not something that is happening even at the defense. Or we are good in the build-up play. We are very good until the final third. It feels like the players aren't coached to know what to do inside or in and around the box. So we don't pack the box. We don't have people rushing into the box. More often than not, it is just one player there. And most of our goals comes in when we have 2 or 3 players inside the box, where either Emil Smith-Rowe or Oba or Laka there as an additional number, and the ball falls to them. So Arteta has to figure out a way where it doesn't have to be fancy. It could even be just woofing the balls into the box, but we need numbers in the box. So we need a way where we know this is how Arsenal is going to attack before the other teams figure out how to break down our defense, like how Liverpool figured out.
And I think Smith-Rowe's done that a lot, actually. You look at the last 3 games by Liverpool. He scored against Watford. He scored against Villa. And was it Villa? I think, and he scored against Leicester. And those kind of 3 games in particular where he's popped up and grabbed a goal in those fixtures has been from moments where he's been able to run into the box and get on the end of chances. And we need him to be more direct. But at the same time, we need to create those chances from those wide areas. I mean, Vinny, now that Emil Smith-Rowe is kind of developing into a player that can get into the box and score goals, do you think that it's the right time to maybe either move him into more of a central position to get into those chances even more, and then maybe you can bring in someone like either a Nicola Pepe or a Gabriel Martinelli? Or do you think this is the game in which we bring in, say, I don't know, we're going to go into lineups in a second, but do you think this is a game where Martin Odegaard's creative abilities may be more beneficial to the team?
I think it's a big issue that we don't have players that come from our midfield that get in the box and score goals. Like Ojo said, Smith-Rowe's like one of the only players that does it. But like in the past, we used to have players like Ramsey that used to arrive in the box, and it's something that's missing. In this game, I would play Odegaard. I'll give him his chance to shine. I think he's such a good passer and creative player that he can really benefit this team. But it is a worry that you don't see our other midfielders get into the box. But for me at the moment, I would be going with Odegaard to try and get that creative spark and hopefully that link-up play. But we do need players to take more risks and get in the box like Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe and give more options, because there isn't anyone in the box when we get the ball wide at times. It's not good enough.
No, it isn't. I mean, one of the biggest things I think, Chris, coming back off the back of the Liverpool game is now going to be the confidence levels of this team, because taking a 4-0 defeat at Anfield, yes, it's Anfield. Yes, you've described it yourself as a bit of a free hit. Without a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be a bit of a hit to the ego. Do you think that is going to be affected, or do you think that Arteta's kind of got a young group now that can overcome that pretty quickly?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back. The bit we never see and the bit we don't really understand is the psyche of the individual players and how, because they're all going on individual journeys. So it's very difficult to talk about the team and saying, can the team bounce back? Someone like Oba should bounce back instantly, right? He's got so much experience to call back on. Someone like Lokonga, who's new into the league, only really played a few games. It's going to be much harder for him to bounce back. So I think we need to be wary of that. And also, this is a young team, and I know we talk about lack of creativity through the middle, right? But it's, that comes with experience. And until these guys get more games under the belt, they're going to be struggling with that. So I suppose, in my thought, we need to stick with them right? Stick with the keep giving them opportunities to make mistakes, right? And then they'll start to do things right. So whilst I'm concerned about stuff from midfield, and whilst I'm concerned about the fact that we're not scoring that many goals, we're still racking up the points, and we're racking up experience, and I think that's the most important thing.
Let's
Just
go
to
on.
add
Oh, go on,
that,
Ojo. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Tom. So just to add on that, right? I think one of the points or the growing pains of this team is we still feel going up to Anfield or going to the Etihad is a free hit. That is something in our mentality or that has to change, because I don't think Arteta thought it was a free hit. I think because the way he was fired up, I thought that he genuinely thought he was going to win this match. And that mentality has to come into the players. It has to come into the kids and even our senior players. When Liverpool went 1-0 up or 2-0 up, you need a Oba or a Lacazette to feel, okay, this game is not gone away from us right now. So they should be the fire who's leading someone like Tavares or someone saying, okay, you made a mistake, it's okay, let's go. I see that in Ramsdale, players who genuinely feel that we are here to win. But it is maybe some of the old guards still feel, okay, 1, 2, we have been through this before. Maybe this will come through experience, where that belief that we are not just here to make up the numbers, as you said, but rather going to an Anfield or going to an Etihad is not just a hope game, but rather we are like a Chelsea or a Man City or a Liverpool, where we feel that we are actual competition here, and if Liverpool slip up, we are there to take the points.
Chris, how do you feel about that?
There's a lot of fair comment in there, and I think that's a lot of forward, positivity, and I think that's right. But I don't think
Ojo being described as positive. This is great. I love it.
There is, because that's the way we should be playing. I think I really disagree with Aubameyang being the captain. Right? I don't care if he calls himself the coolest guy on the planet. Right? I actually love the guy. Don't get me wrong. Right? And I've seen his car outside my house. It's fabulous. Right?
You live next door to Aubameyang, is that?
I live in the same part of North London. Right?
Oh, okay.
But I love that. But I wouldn't pick him to lead a scout troop. Right? It's not. That's not what he does. And I think the Xhaka thing, at least. I was there when he said what he said when he came off the field, right? And I don't think he should, I think that's just wrong on every level. But I've made so many mistakes in my life. Who am I to say, he should never do it again? But I want somebody that fire and brimstones like Tony Adams used to. I mean, he tells that story about Dixon, where Dixon went forward one day. Or Dixon tells the story. Dixon went forward one day, right, and made a mistake, and the ball came back, and they all had to run back for some reason. We didn't lose the goal, but he turned to Dixon and said, "You go past the halfway line again, I'm going to get you in the showers." Right? And I want somebody with that.
Sounds so weird, that, doesn't it? you can't say those words without smirking. You just can't.
Exactly, right. And I want my captain to be a captain and a leader, and I want him to be standing in the middle of that field, screaming at everybody. And that's not Oba. And I'm not sure beyond Ramsdale in this team who it is. I like Tierney because I think he's got that bit. And the clipper last year when he was saying, "Oh, why can't we just go up the other end and score?" And added a few extra words. I love that, right? And I love the passion out of Arteta, by the way. I think that's really good. But we're not getting it. And I think the on-field leadership, I agree. I don't think this year that's going to change.
Vinny, just lastly before we go on to the lineups, then I want to pick up on this captain thing, because leadership after that Liverpool game is going to be huge, and the senior figures that have got to pick up those kids and bring them into the next game is going to be crucial. Do you think the captain's armband is a token gesture? Does it matter in 2021 now, or do you have those leaders without needing the armband?
I think that the right captain in a team matters. I don't think you can strip Oba of his captaincy. I think that would be very negative on the club, a very negative feeling towards him as well. But I think when Oba moves on, you need to bring in a new captain. But the question is, who is that captain? You don't have these fiery figures in teams anymore. We're too soft. This generation's way too soft. But you don't get the fiery figures anymore that you used to. And I like Tierney as well as a player. But again, I'm not sure if he is a captain. He doesn't seem that vocal. Yes, he leads by example and he's a leader, but he's not someone who's screaming the ears off all of the other players on the team. I think it'd be very interesting when we watch the Amazon documentary in a year's time, because it's going to be interesting to see who the leaders are in the dressing room. But the one thing that I do like at the moment is we've got a lot of players with character. Like when you're looking at Ramsdale screaming at all the players, it's just a joy to be seen, because we haven't had that connection with the players for ages. And you can see some of the players in this team have got that spirit and have got that mentality to really want to win and to lead. So it's going to be interesting in the future, but it's probably a good thing at the moment that Oba's the captain in a way, because I think we need a year or two for someone to step out of them shadows and to take that for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to move on to the lineups now. Just before we do, though, Tomodo 10 in the chat. Thank you ever so much for joining up as a member. I know you've already been previously a member, but I've just checked and you've been a member for 11 months. You were a month away from securing that next level of membership on your badge. So stay with us for a month at least, and you'll get that new badge to use in the chat box. The longer you are a member, obviously, it builds up the reputation of your name in the chat box with the little symbol next to it. So stick with us and yeah, become a member and join the TGT crew. And obviously, you could also be like these guys and joining us on the shows by joining our Discord server as well. Let's go on to the lineups then. I think we're starting with OJO'S. Talk us through this team, mate.
You completely ruined my team.
Have I? I'm sorry. What have I done?
This happens every week. You know, I give you a team, you send out another team, and we lose. Why do you do this to us?
Well, tell me where I've gone wrong. What have I got to change?
It is Oba top and Smith Rowe on the left.
Oh man, here we go. So it's
and I also gave
here.
Kieran Tierney, but instead you changed it to Tavares.
Here we go. I'm changing it for you, mate. It's all there. Like, you happy now? Is that? Is
wasted
that what
my
we want?
internet minutes.
Talk us through it, mate. Can't just sit there. Talk me through your team.
I feel that because Newcastle have a new coach, right? What's his name? Eddie Howe, and they're playing 3 at the back, which has been Arteta's kryptonite this season. So I feel at home we should not hang back, or we don't need two holding players. Rather have Partey marshal the midfield, have Laka and Oba flood the box, and ESR run in or make his runs, while Saka maybe holds through the line and tries to cross in. We have Tierney, the other, who can bomb up as well. Our defense is good. We have Gabriel White and Tomiyasu who should be able to handle Newcastle's attack, which currently is technically better than us, but still, I think if Tierney and Saka hold the width, and we have Oba and Laka occupying their 3 defenders, and Smith Rowe and Odegaard trying to get into the box as well, we should have way too much for Newcastle this week.
Fair enough.
That's my hope, at least.
Hopefully. Vishal, thank you so much as well for joining up as a member. Really appreciate your support. Chat box, make sure to give them a warm welcome in the chat box. Let's go to who's next. I think we've got Vinny next. Talk us through it, fella. I hope I've got yours at least right on the screen.
Yeah, it looks right to me.
Yeah, I give the effort for Vinny there.
You gotta get the
what is this about, Tom? You get Vinny's team, right? You get everyone else. I don't get this.
It's been a majorly stressful day, Ojo. I'm sorry. I can only apologise.
So for me, Tierney comes in for Tavares. I think I had no qualms in Tavares starting last game, but I think he's made a mistake, and it's now time for Tierney to come in and to prove why that spot is his. Ainsley in instead of Lokonga. I think Lokonga really struggled in the second half when he come on against Liverpool, and I think it'd be good for him to have a rest and Niles to come in. I also think Niles is slightly better going forward than Lokonga as well. And I did toss up between Emile Smith-Rowe coming into the centre and Martinelli out wide, similar to what Ojo was saying in having Partey as the pivot and then Emile Smith-Rowe and Odegaard in midfield. But I think it's going to be interesting with this team. But as we said earlier, we need players to get in the box, and we need Emile Smith-Rowe to get in the box. We need Saka to get in the box to support Oba, because recently there's been too big of a gap between the whole of our midfield and Oba up top, and we're not supplying him. He's a quality striker. If you give him a chance, he's going to score goals. But we've got to find this right balance in midfield.
Fair enough. Let's go finally on to Chris's team.
Right. So mine's not wildly different, except I'd set up slightly differently. So my biggest thought process was around Tavares and Lokonga and what to do with them. And likewise, I've decided it's time to bring in Maitland-Niles and Tierney. I want to use Partey slightly differently. I want to use Partey slightly ahead of Maitland-Niles. And a bit like last week, I want Maitland-Niles to sit in with Gabriel and White. Tierney's going to bomb off down the side, and we know that. So we've allow for that. They got 3 good strikers that are scoring a good number of goals, right? So we need to give them some respect. But also, I want to stretch the game. And one of the things at the Liverpool game Ramsdale wasn't doing, and this I got from a lunch I had with a friend of mine called Stuart, is that when he wasn't putting any long balls out, and I hadn't noticed either. It was all short stuff. And he explained to me the reason for that was because they're too good at pressing, blah blah blah. And so Newcastle aren't like that. So I think I want Ramsdale to be pushing more balls longer. I want Maitland-Niles and Partey to be putting at least 25% of their balls forward. I want them to almost be focused and targeted on pushing that forward. Again, if we make some mistakes, I'm not less concerned as long as we're doing things. And I think with Odegaard, Saka, and ESR, I think you've got this real opportunity to be quite fluid with those 3. So I wouldn't be too prescriptive because I think that they've got this massive opportunity to almost turn defenses by their movement. Oba has to be given a single job, which is to sit on the shoulder of the last man, right? I don't want him coming back unless it's a set piece. I want him absolutely there all the time, right? But even the times when you go, well, why? Because actually we need that outlet. The more we've got the outlet in place, the more they use it. The more they use it, the better they get at it. The better they get at it, the more we score. So that was my argument.
No, that's fair enough. I just want to jump into the chat because Vishal, who's joined up as a member, says, do you think Smith Rowe and Saka need a rest? Should we be giving Martinelli and Pepe a go, play Odegaard as the attacking midfielder? I mean, we've got the festive period approaching, don't we? And we are going to need to rotate. We are going to need to make some changes. And I've actually made quite a big change in my team, which I don't think anyone else is going to see picked. But I've got a piece coming out a little bit later on this early in the hours of this morning that's going to explain this in a little bit more detail. But Balogun's been playing very, very well for the youth side. He's far above that level. And he's actually been playing to the left of Mika Biereth as well, both as a winger in that situation and also as kind of a left forwards off of Biereth too. And Arsenal have a goal problem. I think we all can see that Arsenal have got a goal problem right now. And when you're going up against a side like Newcastle, I feel like there's the opportunity to just be a little bit more risky with your team selection and maybe throw a different dynamic into the side. We've thrown Lacazette into a few games. It's not quite worked with that dynamic. And I feel like maybe there is the opportunity here to give Balogun a chance. I don't feel like Aubameyang is the problem. I don't feel like the striker is the issue at Arsenal. In fact, there's another piece coming out I've got talking about how I think we could sign. You could put Robert Lewandowski in this Arsenal team, and if you don't create chances for the striker, you're not going to see a drastic change in the number of goals that we score. The striker is not the problem for Arsenal. We can talk about that we need a striker that's going to drop in and link the play up and create stuff for the wider areas, but actually, if we focused a lot more of our effort into creating chances for a striker like Aubameyang, who we know 9 times out of 10 can finish those clear-cut opportunities, I think we'd be doing much, much better. But I'm not saying that we're necessarily going to get that, and I don't think Balogun will start this game. I think Odegaard will jump in. I think Odegaard will start with Smith Rowe out on the left-hand side. Now, I've gone for Tavares, and I know that a lot of you guys are reacting into the chat box for that. The reason why I've gone for Tavares is because we've got Manchester United on Thursday next week. I think Tavares, to drop him after that Liverpool display would be a big knock to his confidence. It's not like I'm dropping a player. It's not like we're saving a player just because of the sake of it. Tavares is someone that's very good going forwards, and I think adding to our attack going forwards will be beneficial. You bring Tierney on for the, say, last 15, 20 minutes to get some minutes into his legs, and then you start Tierney against Manchester United at Old Trafford on Thursday. I think that just might be a better way of managing kind of the left-back situation in that sense. Ojo, I feel like you want to jump in, mate, so feel free.
Tom, my question is, should we reward Tavares' mistake? I think for a long time, Arsenal has given players a second chance and a third chance to see them to go and make the same mistakes again. I think we should bring a standard to the team where if you do foolishness on the pitch, you're not playing the next game, and that I think that feeds into the hunger. Because I'm not disagreeing with Tavares, because Tavares, White, Tomiyasu, and Ramsdale have all made me eat my words this season, because I did not expect them to play this well, and they've been playing out of their skin. But there has to come a standard where we elevate. You don't see another player, if Robertson or Cancelo did and cost the game. I don't think Pep or Klopp was going to put them back into the game. Team again the next week, feeling for their confidence, because you're a Premier League player, you're playing for Arsenal. If you truly believe that you're playing at that level, you cannot be doing things like that. And for so many years, I've seen Kolasinac or Xhaka make stupid mistakes and walk right back into the team simply because we didn't have options at the time. But if we are going to set up bar and saying we are going above this, then Tavares can't play this week. He has to understand that his mistake cost him his place, and he has to wait in the wings until someone else does something else.
I think that it's a fair argument. What I would say to that is I think there is a difference between Tavares and Cancelo and Robertson. Cancelo and Robertson are, well-travelled, like experienced players at the top level, and Tavares is a 21-year-old. And I think that has to be considered, because if you do shotgun his confidence after making that mistake at Anfield, which is described by a lot of people as a game in which we could have, we tried to play a little bit more expansive, and he was, to be honest, doing what he's been coached to do, which is to play out from the back. So I do think that we can be a little bit more forgiving in the context of 21-year-old Tavares, and then say bringing on Tierney a little bit later to then start against Manchester United. And that also bleeds into rotating and not say burning out Tierney in this game when we're going to need his running at Old Trafford on Thursday.
But we have nothing in the middle of the week, Tom. We have plenty of time. And Tierney
we had Manchester United on Thursday. It's only 5-6 days later. So...
No, I still feel, I think Tavares, there has to be a standard in the team, whether you're 21, because the team is young.
Do you think it's the same for everyone? Do you think it's the same? Should be the same rule for every player?
Yes. If you
Why
cost
is
the
it
team,
different?
if you cost the team the match, because we had a momentum. Okay, we were 1-0 down, but if you directly cost the team a match, or you swing the game in such a way, it should be at the back of your mind that you're going to get back into the dressing room, and it's going to be hell for you for the next week. And you can't Arsenal is not some free for all where you can. I have been sick of seeing players do whatever they want, cost us games, and just walk in. And we are giving them chance after chance after chance. It can't be like that. If we are going above, then you can't act like a fool on the pitch and walk back in again.
Hey, look, I would agree with you, Ojo, if this was Granit Xhaka, if this was Skodran Mustafi, if this was one of those players, I would agree with you and say, look, it's another mistake. It is what it is. But after Tavares' first mistake, after 3 really solid performances, I can't tarnish him with this. I can't paint it with the same brush as those players. And I think that it would be fair to give him an opportunity to redeem himself in this game against Newcastle, rather than dropping him and, as I say, shotgunning that confidence. I don't feel like we're going to agree on this one, so we may have to agree to disagree on this. I do understand your point of view, and as Arsenal Granny in the chat box points out, I have said that you should always be ruthless, and you need to be ruthless. But I do think there is a level of, and Chris and Vinny, feel free to jump in on this. Don't feel like you need to sit there on the sidelines cheering on. But tell me what you think about this debate.
So I thought long and hard about this, right? Because I think the kids' confidence is really important. I get that. I absolutely get what OJ says. We need to be more ruthless, and I think that's something that hopefully we learned at Anfield, and hopefully we will do. But I put Tierney in because I think I'm looking at the Manchester United game, and I want him to have an hour in his legs. And I think we're going to get a different reaction on Thursday night than we're going to get this weekend. And I think Tierney needs to get and run and get the cobwebs out. So that's why I went for him. I think I understand the argument about confidence, but also you've got to be resilient. And the difference between really good players and average players is resilience. So I'm with OJ in terms of part of what the kid's got to learn is resilience.
Fair enough.
Tom, I have a question for you. If you were
come on,
manager
OJ.
and looking at the
I'm
way, if you were the manager at the sideline and
Yeah, of
you had
course I know.
that Gucci jacket like Arteta,
No, this is all Saints, mate.
and you were there and looking at the way Tavares was playing at Anfield, would you have subbed him off?
Yes. Yeah, I probably would have
that
pulled him
not
off
have
in
hit
that
his
moment.
confidence?
Not if you would have said to him, look, you've made that error there. Pull him off in that moment, protect him, and then say, look, I'm going to throw you back in.
It's the same thing, right?
I don't think it is when you throw him back in the next game and say, look, I've hooked you off in this moment because you've made a really clear error here. However, I'm going to give you this opportunity to, prove yourself back again in the next game. So I think he was right to hook off Lokonga in that game against Liverpool as well, because I think Lokonga was awful in that game and was really struggling. And I think his, the lack of experience maybe was hurting him. But I don't think it is in the same sense if you would then say, go back out, I'm going to give you the confidence back again, play this Newcastle game with the, and bring Tierney on later in to give him the minutes. Go on, Vinny.
For me, Tierney's our best left back, and he's a leader as well. And I think we need to bring him back into the team as quickly as possible. And you start building that back four going forward, and building consistency in the team. And that's why I would have Tierney back in there. I know Ojo suffers no foolishness by the sounds of it, but I think it's right for Niles and Tavares to be dropped in this. Lokonga and Tavares to be dropped in this game. I think Lokonga played quite well in the first half, and then he come out and his head was sort of all over the place. But the most important thing for these young players now is to learn. I'm not angry at them. They're young players. They've been thrown in. They've been brilliant for us. Both of them have been brilliant for us, and they need to bounce back now. But in this game, I would be bringing in Tierney, because I think Tierney's our best left back. That back four is one of the most exciting back fours I've seen us have since the Invincibles. I love every defender in that back four. And I'm delighted with. We just need to build a solid base going forward and use that consistency to build a solid team. So I would bring Tierney in for that reason.
Fair enough. I think it's a fair point. Harin also raises a very good point, which is Lokonga played one bad match against West Ham and then was brought back in. I don't think it was West Ham. I think it was Crystal Palace you're thinking of when he made the mistake that led to Crystal Palace's goal. He then played the next game against Villa and was brilliant. As kind of that counter argument, there's that there as well. 21-year-old makes a mistake. We kept the confidence with him, put him back in, and was really good. I think there are really good points on both sides. So chat box, if you're watching on catch up as well, do leave a comment below. Who would you start in this game? Tell us your reasons as to why you would start either Tavares or Tierney, and let us know. I think there are really good arguments for both sides, and I think we've covered that there. To finish off the show, as we always do, we're going to get our predictions. We're going to go in reverse order. Chris, we're going to start with you. What do you think, mate? Scorers and a scoreline, please.
I think Emil Smith-Rowe and Oba, and I think it will be 2-0.
Vinny.
3-1 Arsenal. I think Oba's going to get 2, and Smith-Rowe's... No, Saka's going to pop up with 1 for once. And then probably St. Maximum on the counter.
Yeah, it probably will be Sam Mac. Oh, it'll be Joe Willock. We know it's going to be Willock. He's going to pop up and score. Oh, Joe.
5-0.
What? To who? Hold on. To who?
To the Arsenal.
Okay.
I was actually on the wall, but I think maybe Arsenal will win this game.
How do you go from on the wall? It must have been a dam that you were on the side of, because you've jumped off into the abyss of positivity to go for 5-0 from there. Wow, fair enough. And who are all the 5 scorers? I want them all. Tell me.
Ramsdale, Gabriel, White, Tomiyasu, Tierney, or
the back 5.
or Tavares to build his confidence.
So there's 6-0 then, is what we're going for. 6-0, love it. That's great. Fine, I'll take it. How's Ramsdale scoring? Just let me know.
Free kick from edge of the box.
Edge of our box or their box?
I don't know, some box to the side.
Okay. It's fine, mate. It's all good. I love the detail. Let's jump into the chat box and see what you guys are saying. Omar says 2-0 to the Arsenal. MIL Reaction says 6-1 to the Arsenal. We need a positive goal difference. Fala says 1-0 to the Arsenal. Arsenal Granny says 3-0. Steve Stone says 3-1. Ashton, scrappy 2-1 win for the Arse. Kevin Dean, Arsenal 4, Newcastle 1. Vishal 2-0 to the Arsenal. Ramsdale is getting that clean sheet. I was about to say getting that second goal then, based off the back of Ojo's prediction. Gregory Beeler says 3-1. Aubameyang, Smith Rowe, and a Gabriel header to finish the game off. I am going to go for a 3-0 win. Aubameyang hat-trick is what it's going to be. That would be quite nice. I've taken him out of my fantasy team, though, so it may come with some element of regret. But, yeah, 3-0 Arsenal, Aubameyang hat-trick. Get the confidence up ahead of Old Trafford. That would be wonderful. King says 3-0 Arsenal. He's going to be at the game. So if you see King, he's been on the channel. You know what he looks like. Say hello to him.
And if we lose, we know whom to blame.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Paul says 4-0 to the Arsenal, and Chris reckons that Ben White's going to score his first goal. Leopold just says, as long as we win, I don't really care. Stephen, 2-1 to the Arsenal to round off our predictions with Omega saying Arsenal 3-0, Ramsdale clean sheet. So there we go. Love it. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Please do drop a like on today's video if you have indeed enjoyed the discussion and the debate around Arsenal's teams. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and help support it by becoming a member, and you can find yourself on the channel like these three lads are as well. Ojo, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Do tell people where they can find you.
I am mostly at home these days. So.
Or so, like on social media or the Discord, where can you be found, mate?
Please come into the Discord. You know, help Tom make some money, and also do the chat.
Say it like that so bluntly. This is why we love him.
And also, thank you, Tom. And I know you've been getting a lot of stick on social media, but
really from the sounds of things.
See, I'm nice to you. Look at the positivity. No? I'm more positive than COVID today.
Thank you.
Regardless, I feel that I understand it. Especially after your last session on how people are useless in their comments on Twitter. I feel
where did I say that? Useless.
No, that was my understanding of the entire situation. But I feel that, Tom, as you are growing, I feel that it comes with all these are growing pains. And one day we see you on top. Maybe you remember us little people then.
Oh, look, at the end of the day, I think I've maintained throughout the entirety of the growth of this channel that everyone that's helped build it is stuck with us along the way. And look, you're still here, Ojo. You're still sitting on the screen, still talking on the channel. We remember every single one of the people that has helped support this channel, absolutely. So there's no doubt that will indeed continue to be the case. But thank you, Ojo. I really appreciate your time, mate. All jokes aside, fantastic stuff. Vinny, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Sexy Bold Man on Instagram. But I echo what Ojo said. I think you've maintained your integrity throughout. You even got me behaving, and that.
I've had to have a few words with Vinny, but we've changed him. He's a changed man.
Yeah, even I don't swear on your show or say things which are non-PC. So you're doing a good job, mate. Keep it up.
Fella.
You've built a great community.
Appreciate that, mate. Obviously, if you watched Sophie last night on the show, even she was sitting there going, "Oh no, I can't say that on here." So it just becomes the unwritten rule. Because I mean, I always go back to that email. I don't know if it was Dave Lincoln. I don't know if he'll be listening. He's sometimes in the chat box that sent me an email saying that he can listen to the show with his kids because he knows there's no swearing on it. So I hope you appreciate that, Dave, and everyone else that obviously listens to the show if their little ones are around, or even if you are indeed a little one yourself that tunes along for the show and appreciates the lack of expletives. Go on, Vinny.
If you swear, Tom rings you up on FaceTime and you have to sit in detention with him for half an hour.
It's going back to my teacher days. That's what it is. Clearly, yes. Old teacher vibes for sure. Chris, thanks so much, mate, for coming on. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, best place to find me is on the Discord server. Yeah, great way to just talk to people and support the channel. And I mean, I'm echoing what the other guys say because they've said it so well. But I've been around a lot of the old Arsenal channels, and quite honestly, they're all quite not for me. And this one feels like safe space, nice people, and just a little bit of proper Arsenal class.
Oh, that's nice. See,
yes,
you could,
especially with Vinny, it's weird that Chris called this a safe space and there's a Vinny right next to him on screen.
It's coming for you. It's coming for you in the Discord server. Thanks so much, Chris. Really appreciate that. Yeah, if you haven't already joined our Discord server and you would like to, just become one of our members, expert member or a TGT ambassador, and you can join the gang and you can find yourself on the channel as well. So please do support, and thank you to Tomodo in the chat box, and Vishal as well, who both of you became members or renewed your membership in the case of Tomodo today. So thanks so much. And if you need a new link for the Discord, it will be in the community tab for the members only section. So there you go. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning, where I'll be doing plenty of discussions around Ralph Rangnick's appointment to Manchester United and getting all the fallout from that. As I said on the Arsenal Way earlier on today, it's an annoyingly sensible piece of business by United, which we'll be chatting about, I'm sure. Oh, there we go, Rohit. Thank you so much for joining as a member, mate. Really appreciate your support as always. Make sure chatbots, you give them a warm welcome in the chat back to the crew. I know he's in our Discord server already, but thank you as well for continued support, mate. We are going to wrap things up there. See you tomorrow morning. Have a fantastic evening, and as always, up the Arsenal.